Today's August 1st. He wants his code in the afternoon edition.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most unnerving and unsolved questions involving famous murder cases.
There's just a lot of parts of that story that are fascinating that we don't know a lot of the answers to.
Number 10. What is Ted Bundy's actual kill count?
This next girl, we're still not sure if she died from strangulation or the blow to her head that left a baseball-sized hole in her skull.
Arguably the most notorious serial killer in history, Ted Bundy has officially claimed the lives of 20 individuals. But those are just the identifiable victims that investigators have linked him to. The real number is likely much, much higher.
For the record, you are guilty of killing many women and girls.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
Bundy himself confessed to 30 kills, but experts and historians believe that even that number is too low. Indeed, some people think it could even climb into the hundreds. This was personally referenced by Bundy on a few occasions, and he remains a suspect in a number of unsolved homicides throughout the country. With the age of the case and the elusive nature of the killer, it's possible that we'll never know the true tally.
The only people that ever saw the diabolical Bundy were his victims.
Number 9. Who committed the Little Rock stabbings?
Today, the Little Rock police issue a safety alert after multiple knife attacks in the city. 3 of those attacks are homicides.
Thanks to the advent of certain investigative techniques, serial killing has become less pronounced. But that's not to say it has stopped completely. Many killers are still out there, including one who stabbed 4 people in Little Rock, Arkansas between 2020 and 2021.
Perhaps you catch the story and you're in a day center or something like that, be aware and consider going to a different part of town until this is resolved. It would be my encouragement.
3 of the 4 victims passed away, and both Little Rock police and the FBI believe that a serial killer may be involved. The lone survivor described her attacker as a young black man over 6 feet tall, but despite a reward of $20,000, he has yet to be identified. As of 2024, the killings seem to have stopped, which only begs a further question. Why?
The department is now asking for the public's help in finding the man who left 3 people dead.
Number 8. What's happening on the Highway of Tears?
9 women have gone missing or been murdered along that specific stretch of highway. If you ask First Nations groups or just the communities along this route, they'll tell you that number is much higher.
Stretching nearly 450 miles across British Columbia, Canada, is the Highway of Tears, so named because of the tears it has elicited in so many wronged individuals. The highway was completed back in 1970 and has remained a hotspot of crime ever since.
If they were actively investigating, someone would say, oh, I just talked to RCMP. So do you have a sense of how active these investigations are?
I don't think they're active now at all.
In the 5+ decades it's operated, the Highway of Tears has seen dozens of murders and disappearances, with the most recent occurring in 2023. 3 different serial killers have been charged in relation to crimes that occurred along the highway. But as they are still continuing to this day, it's obvious that they were not solely responsible.
I did learn some things today. I think it went well.
What'd you learn?
I don't want to say. But I have. I've learned some things which in the future are going to help me.
Number 7. Who filled the Janikhel Grave?
Well, the Pakistani Taliban has been fighting the government in Islamabad for more than 15 years, trying to impose its hardline interpretation of Islamic law.
On March 21, 2021, a mass grave was found in the town of Jeanel, Pakistan, containing the corpses of 4 individuals. And judging by the state of the bodies, it was obvious that they had been murdered. The victims were identified as 4 local teenage boys who enjoyed hunting in the area and had gone missing 3 weeks before the grave was found. The find sparked great outrage in the region, and thousands of protesters marched with the boys' bodies to demand justice. They believed the Taliban was responsible, as the region was plagued by violent militants and the boys had previously been abducted by the Pakistani Taliban, or TTP. Unfortunately, this is just a theory, and the case remains unsolved.
We must underline that Pakistan is facing a sort of proxy terrorism. It has been facing this proxy terrorism for more than a decade.
Number 6. What is the Axeman's connection to jazz?
I am what you Orleanians call the Axeman.
New Orleans is known for its jazz, so much so that the Axeman actively promoted it during his reign of terror. He killed 6 in the late 1910s, and on March 13, 1919, a person believed to be the Axeman wrote to local papers claiming that he would kill someone in the early hours of March 19th. However, he would spare anyone playing or listening to jazz music.
And I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared in whose house a jazz band is in full swing by the time I have just mentioned.
So, on the night of March 18th, people crammed the city's dance halls and attended parties in which jazz music was being played. True to his word, the Axeman did not attack that night. Some believe that the killer wished to promote jazz music, but of course, it's also possible the letter was a hoax. Number 5. Who are the Gasey John Does?
Hey, look at me. I want to show you a trick.
One of America's most prolific killers, John Wayne Gacy took the lives of a confirmed 33 individuals. However, only 28 of them have been conclusively identified. The other 5 remain John Does even to this day.
And when you look over at the photos, I have no recollection of any of them. Never met them.
3 of the 5 victims were killed in 1976, with 1 occurring the year prior and 1 the year after. All are males, and that's about all we know for sure. Facial reconstructions have been made of all 5 victims, and DNA has been taken and tested. In fact, said reconstructions have been updated as recently as 2018. Unfortunately, nothing has come of the work, and the victims remain unidentified. Number 4. What do the Zodiac's cryptograms say?
And what's the one word that we know that he'll use in here at least once?
Kill.
Right, kill. So the Hardens start looking for double symbols, which they find here, here, and here, each with the same 2 symbols preceding them.
The Zodiac remains an enduring part of American culture, thanks in large part to his brazen correspondence and the fact that he was never caught. He was known for writing taunting letters which were published in local newspapers, and he also produced 4 cryptograms that he encouraged the public to solve.
Hey, take a gander at this code thing.
Okay.
You want to give it a go?
However, he may have made them a little too hard. The first was quickly cracked in 1969, but that would be it for another 51 years. A second cipher was solved in December of 2020, with the Zodiac proclaiming that he was, quote, not afraid of the gas chamber. The other 2 remain unsolved, despite the dedicated efforts of private citizens and professional code breakers. As of now, we can only imagine what they say. Number 3. What happened to Bel Gunnis?
She would apparently lure men to her farm through ads in newspapers where she reportedly would kill them.
One of America's earliest serial killers, Bel Gunnis was known for killing men after luring them to her Indiana farmhouse. She claimed at least 14 lives, but the true number could actually be closer to 40. Gunnis's crimes finally came to light in April of 1908 when her farmhouse burned down and revealed a number of human remains. Investigators found what was thought to be the body of Gunnis herself, but now we're not so sure.
The story itself is it's kind of stranger than fiction.
The coroner strongly implied that it was not Gunnis, as the corpse was both shorter and lighter than she was. Furthermore, people around the Chicago area reported seeing Gunnis long after her supposed death. As it stands, we may never know what truly happened to Hell's Bell.
She's one of the most notorious serial killers that really no one has heard of before.
Number 2. Did Jack the Ripper write the From Hell letter?
He opened it, and there inside was a letter, written in red ink and addressed from hell. Wrapped inside it was half a human kidney.
In the midst of Jack the Ripper's 19th century killing spree, a team of private citizens started the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee in order to patrol the streets of East London and keep the people safe. It was led by a builder named George Lusk, who, on October 16th, received the infamous From Hell letter.
From hell. Well, at least they got the address right.
Of the many pieces of correspondence, this is widely considered the most authentic. In it, Jack taunts Lusk, telling him to, quote, catch him when he can, and claiming that he ate half of a human kidney. The other half was included with the letter. The organ was found to be real, and numerous discrepancies between this letter and the others led many to believe that it was genuine.
The amount of factual information that we've got there is not sufficient to draw any hard and fast conclusions.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. What was the Manson family's motive?
So, Bob, when you're confronted with a crime scene like the one you were at, what do you think about who could have done this?
The infamous group led by Charles Manson murdered at least 9 individuals in the late 1960s. And despite their notoriety, we still have no firm idea of why they did it. Of course, there are numerous theories, including the famous helter-skelter proposed by Vincent Bugliosi. He posits that the family was attempting to incite a race war.
To Manson, helter-skelter meant the black man rising up and destroying the entire white race. That is, with the exception of Charles Manson and his chosen followers.
Others, including various family members, claim that they wanted to get Bobby Beausoleil out of jail. Beausoleil was a family member imprisoned for the murder of Gary Hinman, and the family wanted to make it seem like the real killer was still loose. Susan Atkins stated that she just wanted to, quote, shock the world. Even if that wasn't their true motive, it's certainly what they accomplished.
One of the most horrific things I've ever seen in the whole time I was a policeman, and nothing compares to it, to that murder scene.
What are your theories on these mysteries? Let us know in the comments below.
But all it did was really complicate the investigation.